Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Coffee and Books with Brook. I am your host, Brook Wright, and today's book we are going to be discussing today's book I'm going to be reviewing is You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. You Are a Badass, How to Stop Doubting Your Greatness and Start Living an Awesome Life. I read this book again, just like I found this book when I found David Goggins' book because I was going through a depressive state of mind, which I am today still. But I also purchased hers on audiobook, so she narrates it. And in this book, she goes through steps of how you can be your awesome self. And I absolutely love this book. I rated it a 5 out of 5. It changed my life, but then I got back into a depressive state of mind and spiraled back down. But in this book, she's also tough, just like David Goggins. She cusses a lot, also like David Goggins. So she gives it to you real straightforward and blunt, just like David Goggins. That's why I picked these two authors to review. This is exactly why I picked these two, because they're both badass. So you can purchase on Kindle for $9.99. You can go to audiobook and get the subscription audiobook. Audible trial, and then you can read her book for free. And then you can do the hardcover for $25, or you can do paperback for $8.99. And there's all the prices if you get it new, used, or whatever, collectible. Yeah. And you can get it shipped to you from Amazon as well. So, yeah, this book was amazing. And it is a self-development book, is one of the reasons why I wanted to read it, because I wanted to help myself. I wanted to get myself up off my feet and learn how to be a badass. So throughout these exercises, like there are exercises as well. They're identify and change the self-sabotage beliefs and behaviors that stop you from getting what you want. Shift your energy and attract what you desire. Create a life you totally love and start creating it now. Make some make some damn money already, the kind you've never made before. And in the end of You Are a Badass, I love Jen Sincero. There she is right there, the author. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about Jen Sincero. I do have her website up as well. So I wanted to go in there. Okay. So this is Jen Sincero, the author of You Are a Badass. So she's a New York Times bestselling author, speaker, and motivational cattle prod who has helped countless people transform their personal and professional lives from her products, speaking engagements, newsletters, seminars, and books. And that's how I came across Jen Sincero. There she is again, Jen Sincero. I came across her when I was in the deepest of the deeps, the lowest of lows. This by far is the lowest I've been, and I just started reading her book again because this is the lowest I've ever been. So her book is helping me, and I hope it helps someone else out there. There's one other thing that one other video that I wanted you all to listen to. It is Jen Sincero on Tamara Hall. Yeah, Tamara Hall show. So I'm gonna bring that up. And shout out to Tamara Hall show for interviewing her. And I hope you all like this interview. 1 second, let me pull it up. Alrighty.
Our guests today are living what they call their most awesome lives because it wasn't always that way. They say their lives leveled up when they started letting go of fear and learn truly how strong they are. And my first guest was in her 40s. She said she was broke. She was living in a garage. When she asked herself, is this the best I can do? So she started tackling what was holding her back, reframing her mindset and setting new goals for herself. But she said she remained frustrated searching for a self-help book with the advice that was like straight to the point. Well, Jen Sincero decided to write her own book, a how-to with humor, sass, blunt, bite-sized advice. That was 10 years ago. And today, You Are a Badass, How to Stop Doubting Your Greatness and Start Living an Awesome Life is a New York Times bestseller. This book has been translated into 40 languages. Millions of fans say that this book helped them really look inside and find the life that they deserve. And now in the 10th anniversary special edition of the book, Jen is reflecting on a decade of helping people find their inner badass. Please welcome to the show, best-selling author, motivational speaker, badass success coach, Jen Sincero. Come on out, Jen. Congratulations.
So you think you know Wix, but do you really? First up, we've got
Jen, how are you? Welcome. I have to tell you, the word in the book title alone indicates you just were like, I don't care. I'm going to write what I feel.
Exactly. Why not?
Why not? Well, congratulations, 10
Thanks.
years. Is it like a child where they say it goes so fast, you can't believe the impact?
Absolutely. And I kind of feel like I had a baby and put it out in the world and it had this whole life independent of me. So it's kind of a good analogy.
Well, in this case, your baby and the legacy has gone on to help so many people. Take me back, though, to that time where you were looking for, because I'm a self-help junkie. I mean, I miss traditional bookstores because I was the person going through every aisle of every self-help book, looking for something that was going to help me figure this thing out called life.
Yeah. I mean, I was a train wreck myself when I came up with the idea because I read every self-help book under the sun too. I would be walking around weeping in the self-help section, probably right next to you. Anybody else in the self-help crying? Yes, right? Yeah. So yeah, and then I was a writer anyway. So I was like, I could write one of these.
Well, okay, that sounds like a great story to tell on a talk show. But in reality, I don't know how one goes from, okay, I'm broke, I'm trying to find the answer to, I can write one of these. Was that always a part of your personality, the can-do part? I don't know, I would have jumped to that conclusion that I could do it myself.
You know, I think what it was is I read every book under the sun, and so many amazing things were out there, but none of them were funny.
Yeah.
None of them were edgy. And so that's sort of my voice. And I was like, that needs to happen because I felt like it would welcome in so many more people who were like me, who are very like, it's so gooey, and self-help is for like woo-woo people, which I totally am now, self-proclaimed. But yeah, I wanted to have to just welcome in a different crowd.
Right, take the edge off, right?
Yeah.
Because it's already serious enough when you're saying, I'm trying to figure out life.
Right.
And then you're like, well, that's a big one. Can we do this with a smile on our face?
Yeah.
I love this. Your fans say that, of course, that there are life-saving and life-transformative gems. And at page 44, they say all the stuff we're so worried about creating and fixating on, but is already right here, right now. The money you want already exists. The person you want to meet is.
I just want to pause it right there and let you all read that, because when I did read this book, I was just like, wow. And for a minute, I read her book back in 2018 when I was depressed and suicidal and really low on cash and just struggling. And I ended up coming up, saving money, coming up, and then something just happened and I went back downhill again. So I'm reading her book again to try to bring myself back up. And this time I want to stay up instead of bringing myself down, going back up, bring myself down. So I want y'all to read this, take it in, and tell me what you think about that. And I'm going to play it now.
Is already alive. The experience you want to have is available now. Think about that.
Doesn't that make you feel better?
So because you're saying everything you really want is already right there. So I have some friends who are single and they will say, you're telling me that the person I want to meet is already alive.
I hope so, or else they're going to be awfully young.
They're going to be awfully young, and we don't want to go that tender.
Yeah.
So then how do you, is it a manifestation of these things that are already there? What is it?
So it's shifting your focus, right? So this is why your thoughts are so important, because if you're constantly thinking, you know, there's nobody good out there, I stink at relationships, you know, whatever your stories are, we subconsciously want to prove that. Like, we want our reality to stay the same because we feel secure, right? So we pull into our radar proof of that, right? So we're constantly looking at that. When you knock it off with that stuff and you start focusing on what you're grateful for and the places where you have had successful relationships, then you start pulling that focus in more. I actually have a really cool exercise if you want me to do that.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so this is how focus works. So I want everybody to look around the room and notice everything that's pink. Okay, just take like 2 seconds and look around and notice all the pink.
Well,
Okay, now close your eyes and think about everything that's yellow in this room.
Your best defense against erosion and cavities is strong enamel. Nothing beats it. New Pro Enamel Active Shield actively shields the enamel.
So I wanted to take that off until it comes back on, but I wanted to talk to you all about her methods and how she goes about. It's back on, so tell me what you all think about it.
So with your eyes closed. Yeah, so you don't even see it, but it's there.
You don't even see
For
it, but
example.
it's there.
Yeah.
Right. And how do we apply that in our daily lives? What is that supposed to remind us of in our daily life?
To be aware of what you're thinking about and what you're focusing on, because that's how you change your entire reality. It's so simple sounding, but your thoughts and your focus create your reality.
10 years ago, though, how did you stumble upon that? As we said, there's no shortage of self-help books. I'll start with the first one I read. It's called The Bible. To me, that's a self-help book.
Totally.
You know? So there's no shortage of positive advice, affirmations, that it's in you. One of my favorite movies, Wizard of Oz, Dorothy Gale. You were always there, Dorothy. You weren't in Oz. You were always home. Right. So there are always images and ideas of it's always there.
Right.
But what was it about your book 10 years ago, or your mind, that tapped into something that's been translated into 44 different languages?
I wish I knew. I keep doing it. I think it was the new voice. I really do. I think what happened was it was relatable. Like, I'm so not a guru. Like, I talk about all the many, many ways that I screwed it up. And I did it for 4.
One thing I do like about Jen Sincero is that she's really real in her book. If you listen, it is better if you listen to the audiobook. She's real in the audiobook, and she is the one that narrates her own book. So you get to hear in her own words and how she wrote the book and how she goes through like these different methods of how you can be a badass. And that's what really pushed me to my goal back in the day before I went back downhill again. So yeah, she keeps it 100% real, just like I said about Dave Goggins. She keeps it just as real as David Goggins. She cusses a lot, just like Dave Goggins. So, and she even says in the audiobook, if you don't like the cussing, then that's not her problem. Like, so just forewarning you, it is cussing in the book, and she cusses just as much as David Goggins. If you don't like it, you don't gotta read it, but it's definitely motivational. So I recommend, highly recommend the audiobook. But the paperback book does have, I think, like journals, like little entries that you can write in. That's what I read. It does have like little entries, like little things that you can go, like little journal entries that you can write in, and like questions and stuff. So that may benefit some people. I don't know. I like the audiobook better, but that's just me.
40 years. Like, I was living in a garage in an alley when I was in my 40s. So I really felt like if I could get my act together, anybody else can. And I think people really sort of related to that, you know, and that's why I was so inspired to write the book. I was like, you guys, you got to check this out, because if I can do it, seriously.
Wow.
Yeah.
Coming up, members of the Tam Fam share how Jen helped them discover their inner badass. And I want to know, what does it mean to be a badass? After the break.
When I first picked up your book, I wasn't in the best place in my life.
I was the queen of making excuses and standing in my own way.
I was looking for something different in my life, and your book showed me possibility.
If you fast forward to today, I'm a successful litigation attorney, sought after speaker. I think it all really started with one single person told me that I was a badass, and that person was you.
I started reading this book and
I have to say, once I started reading her book, I did sign up for paralegal classes. And I graduate next April.
started taking risks to live the life of my dreams.
It brought me back to my creative self. I started songwriting again, and I dove deeper into meditation. It really showed me that life could be more.
Welcome back, to some of the millions of fans of New York Times bestselling author Jen Sincero and her self-help book that really changed the lives of a lot of people. I would imagine that's a lot of pressure, that people say this book put them on the right track in life. How do you process it? Because you're not a guru, you don't purport to be, you're not a savior, no one is, but the book helped people.
I'm just so happy it did. Like, I'm honestly kind of amazed. I really am.
Do you feel pressure?
I don't know why.
Because I would be like, I can't save you. But that's an interesting thing. I think maybe because you were just presenting your life as it was. And if it could help people, great. And it has.
Exactly. And I sort of come from the place, as long as I tell the truth, I'm good. So that's
I like that.
Takes the pressure
now,
off.
at the time you were writing the book, you were living on a farm? You moved to a farm?
Yeah, I got this incredible, it's a long story how I got it, but it was on this 17 acres, and there were these 2 goats and this horse that I had to take care of in order to live there. And I got to stay there for free. And it was like a magical
So you
place.
were like the working hand on the farm.
Well, I just had to like let them out in the morning and give them some hay. Wasn't that big a deal.
You posted a video on Instagram, I guess it was last week, of your life on the farm. Let's look at it.
Yeah.
So I'm on this farm outside of a city in California that a bunch of my friends live in. So, oh, don't eat my hair. This is not working out very well.
Follow your nose to football.
I do have to say that her book, it is very inspirational. So if you do read it, it may push you out of your comfort zone because it's that good of a book.
Weekend after that.
I love it. Despite the horse being the star of that video, you say that the goats inspired a lesson.
Oh, yes, they did. Anybody have goats?
No.
Not a big thing in New York City to have goats, but no, they broke into the house one day and they got trapped inside for 5 hours. And this is what the takeaway was for me. I was like, they did such a thorough job of destroying everything. They even jumped. They pooped on everything. They broke everything, and they jumped up and down and knocked all the paintings off the wall. I was like, I wish I was that thorough.
What was the lesson there? Get a better lock on the door?
Yeah, exactly. To be good at what you're good at, and also to believe in the impossible dream. I mean, they tried to get into that house for months before they finally did, but they never gave up.
They never gave up, and they were good at being goats.
Yes, exactly.
I love that. So you end the chapters, almost every chapter you end with a list of how to do something. One of them is how to stop procrastinating, how to forgive. The last item of everyone's list is, though, love yourself.
Right.
Why is that?
Because when you really love and accept yourself, then you let your authenticity out. If you're not trying to shape yourself to meet everybody else's approval, and then you have the power. Like if you are, it's telling the truth, right? So if you're brave enough to tell the truth about who you really are because you accept yourself, then you meet your real people. You meet your real tribe. You attract things to you that are meant to be for you because you're in your authenticity and you're happier.
Yeah.
Right? It's exhausting trying to put on a show. And And then if you let everybody else define who you are, then they change their minds. And
Right.
you're like, now what?
And you
know?
become putty in their hands.
Yeah, you give them all your power.
You give them all your power. So going back to the core question though, what is a badass and why does that word? I mean, do you understand? I had to lobby to even be able to say it on TV. They're like, oh yeah, they're like the lawyers are on the phone, and I'm like, but it's the title of the book. It's in the book, attorneys for my show. So
thank you for having me on, taking the risk.
What is it about that word that sends tremors through people?
Right? I would love to know. I mean, that's the easiest word in that book. I mean, where that came from, lawyers. Well, I really wanted the title to say that I see you. And I know you see you too. Like, I know that you know deep down, maybe it's really buried beneath a lot of limiting beliefs or whatever, but you know you are. Badass. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah,
I love that. Jen, congratulations.
Oh, so much.
We are so happy you were able to come on our show. The 10th anniversary special edition of You Are a Badass, How to Stop Doubting Your Greatness and Start Living an Awesome Life is out now. And guess what? All my badasses in the audience getting a copy of Jen's phenomenal and transformational.
So that particular interview, shout out again to Tamron Hall. Let me make sure I got it right. Tamron Hall. Shout out to Tamron for that fantastic interview with Jen Sincero. Once again, I would like to say she's an amazing author. Pick up her series. Like, she has a whole series of You Are a Badass. So if You Are a Badass, How to Make Money or something like that. I haven't read that one yet, but that is on my to-be read list. But the book that she specifically interviewed for is the one that I read 3 times. And it's a really motivational book. It motivated me, like I said once before, to pursue my paralegal career, and it has helped me a lot. It has helped me a whole lot. Like when she said to love yourself, I felt that, but then went back downhill. So yeah, I'm trying to get back up on the pedestal, like trying to get back up. So yeah, I hope you all check that book out. And once again, it's Jen Sincero, and it's in the title, You Are Badass by Jen Sincero. And I hope you all check out more books in her series. Thank you all so much for listening to Coffee and Books with Brook. Have a great day.